No illness or accident should lead to any family's financial ruin. But that discussion completely misses the point. Whatever the politics, today's decision was a victory for people all over this country whose lives will be more secure because of this law and the Supreme Court's decision to uphold it.
Says mixed messages add anxiety as deadline nears in Health Act. Mixed messages, the law always said it would double, quadruple prices over the next 5 years. It always said it would cut quality of care and set up death panels. It always said it would make you buy it, written by insurance companies, increasing the price. It always said it would garnish your wages and keep your tax return or your tax refund if you didn't buy it.
If you are among the hundreds of millions of Americans who already have health insurance, nothing in this plan will require you or your employer to change the coverage of the doctor you have. Under this plan, it will be against the law for insurance companies to deny you coverage because of a pre-existing condition. As soon as I sign this bill, it will be against the law for insurance companies to drop your coverage when you get sick.
The administration is now soliciting success stories from people who say it has helped them. This latest PR campaign coming even as there's still plenty of controversy and confusion over Obamacare, particularly for millions of Americans who saw their plans canceled.
This is the fourth podcast of BlissVille, Misadventures in BlissVille. I'm David Lawler, and I'm here with my co-host for this evening, Colin Hall. And we are outside on the outside exterior stairs of the building where I live, and it is a rather brisk night. Right now it is 9:19. So how are you, Colin?
Glad to be enjoying my Thanksgiving with one of my best friends in life, one of my favorite people.
Wait, this is the fourth episode we recorded, and I am really exhausted now.
Welcome to being human.
Yeah. So what we were going to talk about was, I had mentioned this to Colin earlier. Apparently Chuck Schumer, our New York State Senator, actually came out and admitted that Obamacare might have been a bit of a mistake. He said the rollout was, of course, ridiculous and awkward. The websites were not working and everything. Plus, it seemed it had finally occurred to him that one of the bigger problems in this country was not a lack of health care available for all, but basically a lack of work and jobs and a strengthened economy, issues that should actually matter. And besides, if you're a politician and you want to even create the illusion that you're doing any work, you might want to talk about jobs and the economy. This is how you get elected, right?
That's part of it, David Joshua Lawler, my good friend, but I must tell you this, that there is so many, it's hard for me to explain. This is not like a lame subject for me. What happens is when I get on the subject of politics, I don't know where to end or begin with it. There's so many things going on behind the scenes, not in view of the public, not in the immediate view of the public. You can think something is one way, and it turns out it's a far worse, or far different at least, than what you think it is or realize. And I would say that the country is in the state that it's in partially because people are not getting enough health care. It is an important issue, but the jobs and the economy are important along with that. People need health care, they need jobs too, because how do you afford health care if you're not working? And health care has to charge the people who have it, they have to pay more because not everybody can be a customer if you don't have no damn health care. So, I mean, all of that ties in.
There's also the fact that if one were financially solvent or stable as a result of the work they have, their health might actually improve. Your health would improve if you are comfortable enough making money. If you are worried and stressed out and sick to death because of it, because you have no money, not having money can create a lot of stress and make you severely ill. So it's a two-way street.
Right. It's
in
a
order
vicious,
to have
it's a never-ending vicious cycle.
And there's also the problem in this country.
One perpetuates the other, and nothing gets done because the problem is not being solved.
And there's also the problem in this country that we're surrounded by 8 million, 9 million in this city alone, hypochondriacs.
Right.
People who are just
in this city alone. Right.
There are people who are obsessed. Americans are obsessed with their health, and they constantly driving themselves nuts. I have members of my wife's family go to the doctor routinely for things like hangnails and slight pains in their arms and stuff. I have a wrist that has been killing me, but I hate doctors. I don't go to doctors. I hate them. I went to the dentist, and all I experienced was sheer incredible pain, and I don't ever want to go back. But
Blood of Jesus.
so I say I hate.
I think men are usually more stubborn to medical treatment and advice and keeping on top of their health. And I hear that women are usually somewhat, as they're supposed to be.
Women regularly have
the
to see a doctor.
Supposedly, I'm not going to really cater to that too much.
The problem, there is a
child
divide
bearers,
there in the genders, because women have to see doctors more regularly than men.
Right.
Men
they
don't
have a more difficult anatomy than men do, for one thing. Let's get that straight.
There is that.
Scientifically, yeah, look at, they're the child bearers and we're not, so there is a divide line. I'm glad you said that. Even the most, someone without that much intelligence should be able to see that.
So tell us about your situation. You have a kind of an unusual situation, because it seems like you're the group that you're in is essentially the group that's targeted as being recipients of Obamacare. But it seems like you've been kind of...
Which group was this? Tell me which
low-income black.
Well, we're at the bottom of the food chain on so many social, economic, and political issues all in lump. That's a whole nother broadcast. However, the way this country is right now, a lot of middle class whites and people of other ethnicities, as healthcare goes up and as time goes on, I'm seeing complaints from like a lot of different people that ain't necessarily black females or males in this country. And it's like I said, the problem is not going to go. I mean, like, I don't know if this is going to solve everything, but let's talk about the minimum wage in this country. And why the hell do we, like, the taxes seem to go up a lot more than the minimum wage. How about that as an issue, since we're discussing this very thing?
That's a fair issue, but the thing,
I mean,
you have taxes, but you also
you want to talk about faith in politics?
But the thing is, what I didn't like about Obamacare originally is that if you don't get insurance, you get fined, or you have to pay a tax. But they're not calling it a tax; they're calling it a mandate. Basically, they will fine you a certain amount of money, like $500. I mean, like,
I thought it was $700. Some penalty every year that you don't have health coverage. Which reminds me, I better get on top of that. See,
that's another thing. That I thought it was a one-time penalty, and that was it. But the thing is,
I could afford that.
People who can't afford health insurance anyway. Obamacare does not provide free health care insurance to people. All it does is make every health insurance provider offer you a plan, and you pick a plan based on your economic situation. But the thing is,
or lack thereof.
But it doesn't help, because there are people that it's not going to serve, and these people are not going to be able to pay that fine either.
Right. They're caught in between a rock and a hard wall.
Now, what happened as a result of my wife's insurance, which I and the baby are on, she's switching. Her employer is switching to a new healthcare group because it's too expensive now, apparently, for them. So she's going to get worse service, and this is happening to a lot of people. So what Obama's original promise was, if you like your insurance, you get to keep it. He first off, he had no place saying that. He has no power over the marketplace, and he has no power over these health insurance companies.
Welcome to politics as we know it. Making promises that they may or may not be able to keep. Oh, yeah. That's now, just business as usual, mister.
Now, you told me about your Medicare fiasco, so tell our listeners about your Medicare fiasco.
The Medicare fiasco for me is probably one very solvable if I could just catch up with my social worker and have a straight-up, honest conversation. I have a feeling that they have to dismiss just about everything that they're trying to overcharge me. I have an anger management program I should be going back to, as I'm suffering from. I'm not really a mentally handicapped person, but I'm a person.
You're just angry.
Yeah, angry and distraught.
As am I.
It wasn't just. It's just not an unreasonable. I'm angry because I have a distraught, disturbed, very not so bright-looking future. If I can solve the problem, or with help or without help, I'll probably be better off. I'll be okay.
The only difference between you and me is that they caught you. All they did, they caught you. They didn't catch me.
No, they didn't have to catch me. I brought myself to them. My boss made me give myself up, because what happened was I was provoked into collecting Social Security under circumstances in which I did not plan this. They decided to give me a break because I was about to be homeless. And that was what caused my mental distress. Other than that, I was not supposed to be an insane person.
So as a result of that, in your Social Security deductions is the Medicare deduction for your basic health insurance should you need it. But they raised your rates to a level which they were taking out how much of your pay, probably more than 15 to 20% of the paycheck that you received from Social Security. And this is a direct result of Obamacare, because this is how I lost my job. A lot of the reason I lost my job had to do with budget cuts that were made to the healthcare center that I worked at.
Probably to accommodate this new thing that Obama,
The healthcare center existed primarily on Medicare and Medicaid because we treated the elderly.
Y'all had both?
Well, that's how they collected their money, mainly. We're talking about billions of dollars that would go out to all these hospitals. So now we're seeing a lot of hospitals being shuttered because Medicare rates have gone up as a result of Obamacare. It's a strange thing. So, when they made their budget cuts, they cut my department. So I was let go along with several other people.
Kind of reminds me of that movie that came out. Was it a black and white movie? I forgot the guy's name who starred in it. It's a Wonderful Life. Yeah, right. Sure.
Oh, It's a Wonderful Life. Jimmy Stewart.
Is that his name?
So with Jimmy Stewart, he talks like this.
Something like that.
We'll mail you the money in 6 weeks. Yeah, that's my Jimmy Stewart, by the way.
I'm
doing pretty good, actually.
I wasn't sure if it was Humphrey Bogart or Cary Grant. It was one of them old classic, one of them classic names.
Cary Grant is more like this. He talks like this. Oh, Judy, what are you doing, Judy? That's my Cary Grant. And Humphrey Bogart I don't know.
Can you do Marlon Brando then? You're so good at the other ones. Maybe you
can do Marlon Brando in The Godfather.
Ah, excellent. You should be a voiceover person too.
Buonasera, what have I ever done to make you behave to me so disgracefully?
Oh, I like that one better than the other one. The other ones are good too, but I like that one.
Yeah, but these are all kind of like, these are ridiculous impersonations. They're not to be used in any. My Bogart is
put it
ridiculous.
No. You know what that is? You're doing like a spoof, kind of like just like what you call like a parody version of like the real thing. That's all. But it's still good. It has its effect.
Why do you give me Obamacare when I've already got Aetna? Why have you treated me so disgracefully? Anyway.
Well, welcome to life as we know it in America. You ain't the only one.
It's America. It's an American success story. Anyway.
One man's dream is another's nightmare.
Really, you're a lot like me in this regard.
Damn right.
We have a lot in common, obviously, but
why do you think we're friends?
You are a lot like me in the regard that we fall between the cracks. We are not a statistic that you can count on because we don't see eye to eye with everything, and we can often become victims of a system that is actually trying to help us.
Yeah, well, no good deed goes unpunished, or the road to hell was originally paved with good intentions. Both of those seem to ring a loud chime. The road to hell was paved with good intention, and so, like you said, that was what meant to help or improve us. Many times we can become the victim of. You always hurt the ones you love. This is what this all reminds me
I don't want to get too deep into it, but what is your opinion of Obama? What do you think of him as a president?
Obama, to me, is a person, as much as I like him, but I'm not impressed with the Democrats or the Republicans right now. I don't like the system that he's working for, but I think he meant well despite his blunders. That's what I'm
Again, with the good intentions, right?
There you go. All of the above of which I just said.
I think we all, in our own way, mean well, but if somebody gets run over in the middle of the street, if somebody falls off a cliff, we're not going to go rush and try to jump off that cliff with them. I think politicians are people too.
All you do is die with the person or get hurt with the person that fell. You can't help someone by jumping behind them because they fell. That doesn't help. If you can do anything, you go back down that mountain or whatever and go down and get them if they're still alive, if that's going to do anything. But you don't jump off the cliff because
there's also the rather...
What if they're not dead and you are? What if they're hurt and you're dead? How does that help that person?
There's also the rather uncomfortable component that a lot of people take advantage of the system.
Of course.
It's like I was talking to...
told you no good deed goes unpunished.
I was talking to Mark Jacoma about... Mark Jacoma runs the VHS Rewind, and for your consideration, Fuyuk and all these other podcasts... we were talking about the system, and he was talking about, we were both talking about this. So for the areas around projects, you'll see a lot of luxury cars. You'll see a lot of people who are on welfare, collecting welfare, and buying very expensive products and services, including very expensive cars. And we were trying to figure out, what kind of system is that? How is it that these people can afford these cars? How can they drive around? I get the indication.
You wonder what would they be doing with a used car? Nevertheless, something like a Lexus or a Chrysler,
a BMW,
or some expensive. I said, "What you got? Like an expensive Cadillac parked out in front of you? What the hell is this?" You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know people who are on welfare who drive cars like Ford Expeditions, Escalades, Cadillacs, BMWs. I wonder how they manage to. And you got to think they're gaming the system a little bit.
What's the Escapade by? Is that Ford or Dodge or who made that?
Escalade?
Escalade. I said Escapade.
I think that's
Escalade.
a Cadillac.
I think you're right. You see stuff
Very
like that
nice
out
cars
here.
and stuff like that.
Some of them even have expensive motorbikes and stuff like that that you know are not cheap. Not just to buy. I'm talking about look how much gas it takes to run these damn things. What the hell are you doing on that anyway? I'm like,
right.
You would think that these people can barely afford bus and subway fare.
You would think
and they're sitting up there with
that is my situation. My wife makes a very good living, actually.
However,
we can't afford anything. All we can afford are food and utilities, basic services.
Yeah, the more you make, the more you have to. There's something wrong with when you make a certain amount of money that's supposed to be a comfortable living, and you got to give it to this Tom, Dick, and Harry out here, and this Sarah, Josie, and Clara all the time. It's like, yo.
Well, I think that's because they're probably, if you want to talk about war, stop using the war metaphors or anything like war on drugs, war on homelessness. There is a war on the middle class, because the middle class are the people who pay all the taxes and do all the work. You know, the rich people can figure out ways out of that. Rich people have accountants; they can get out of that.
They can get out of it, and the poor people are the recipients of what the middle class people have to pay off. Yeah,
but I am not in any way advocating socialism. I'm not advocating giving back all the rich people's money, because I do understand a lot of people who are rich have earned their money. They started a business and it became a big thing. Bill Gates, he was making personal computers in his garage and he suddenly became, he became Microsoft.
I think that's good, but you still have taxes to pay like the rest of us. Let it be proportionate,
that is true.
Especially since the minimum wage ain't going up all that much. You know what I'm saying? And when it does, the taxes go up along with the minimum wage. So,
let me tell you, I don't know if you know this, there are some politicians who are in the running who want to completely abolish the idea of federal income tax. They don't want to pay.
And what trick do they have up their sleeve when they do this?
I don't know.
What cost does that come with? It sounds good. Now what are you up to?
The problem is that
nice.
you can't really change the system so much that's been so ingrained, because you would upset a lot of old people. Because a lot of old people spent all their lives paying taxes, and they're suddenly like, oh, this generation doesn't have to pay taxes anymore. It's sort of like power.
There's certain young people that might not like it either, because they're not even going to get what some of these old people are getting right. I'm getting my Social Security now.
There are also referendums where it comes to, like, the police. They want to demilitarize the police and stop giving them all these army tanks to deal with crowd control and having them in military garb. But it's not going to happen. The police are not going to give up their power. When politicians are the last people in the world.
If you're forced to give up your power, you don't have a damn choice.
Well, there's only one way to force it, and that's to take the power back. To quote Run DMC.
The public would have to step up.
I'm sorry, that wasn't...
The public doesn't...
I'm sorry, my whiteness is showing. That wasn't Run DMC. That was actually Public Enemy. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Chuck D. Forgive me, Chuck D. Hey, the man.
I was in the dark. Had you not pointed out that, guess what? I'm a black person, and I was more in the dark than you. At least you caught your mistake. I didn't catch it. You did.
And this you have to know about Colin. He is not he's not caramel. He is serious Africa black. I mean, he's not Yaphet Kotto or anything, but he is fairly black.
He's dark enough.
He's black. He's also dead.
He died?
He died.
I didn't remember
he
that.
He died sometime.
Was that recently? He must have, because he was
a few years ago.
I didn't remember. I probably heard and forgot.
He was in. I
remember him.
He was in the movie Alien in 1979, and he was also on Homicide: Life in the Street. TV show.
I saw him in I think one of them Pam Grier movies in the 70s too. Friday Foster was some other movie she was in.
Yeah, Pam Grier. We're going to talk about Pam Grier at some point. She's a sex symbol of the 70s. I'm doing that show. He was also in The Star Chamber with Michael Douglas. Great movie.
She's a sex symbol. She's the United, written down the United States, maybe even worldwide history sex symbols. What Pam Grier was
of the United States of Love. After the situation, after you lost your job, you almost lost your house. You couldn't pay your bills.
Close, very close. I was in court for about 2 years and 8 months fighting it, and thank God's grace and mercy, somehow I scathed out of that.
You and your ad litem's industriousness as well. Thank them.
Right. But God provided him.
Okay, whatever you say.
He put the right person in my corner to get the job done. and I got my Social Security.
Jesus freak.
Social Security. Well, I call Jesus freak. I'll take that. I can think of some worse names.
You're a freak for Jesus. Hey, there should be a cult.
I would
we should
rather-
totally have a cult called Freaks for Jesus. It should be like people with like one eye and one weird growth on their head or something, or people who
I don't think
have
the
no
name,
fingers.
I don't think the name Jesus freak is so indignant, but that image of a Jesus freak, I find that
That'd
very
be awesome.
indignant. I don't.
They
agree
have
with
Jews
that
for
image.
Jesus. Why can't we have freaks for Jesus?
There might be something like that out there already.
You know what? There
Boy,
might be.
you know.
And I think they're called Mormons. But dun-dun-dun. That was a joke. Thank you. Thank you. I'm here all week.
I liked it.
Waitresses get tips from
A little
people.
suspect, but I liked it.
So because of all of that, then and then this Obamacare thing comes along, and it just totally messes everything up.
Yeah, well, Obama is in a situation where damned if you do. I've heard people on national television tell this man to his face, and not just to his face, but in front of the face of a whole lot of people watching in the crowd and over the air, he's a lame duck president.
Well, they say that, yeah.
Where's the respect? You know what I'm saying?
Well, that is true.
May be
Lame
true,
duck
but
is
you ain't
a-
got to rub his face in it, especially on the air. You
But
know what
Clinton
I'm
was
saying?
like that in his last term as well. He was a lame duck president when the Republicans took over, and then George Bush, when the Democrats took over, George W. Bush, he was considered a lame duck president as well.
So this is a policy that every second-term president must go through. It sounds like it's a tradition.
You know what it is?
If you get more than one term as a president, once you get your second term, I just sit
That
here
has to
and
do with-
play pretty for us. You don't really have to do anything. We're taking over. You just collect your money for the next 4
But
years
that's-
you're in,
that-
and that's that.
okay,
We're
but
taking
that's the
over.
problem.
The opposite party of
It's
whichever party
obvious
you are.
that what we're looking at when two-term presidents come around,
Yeah.
they obviously fail to meet expectations in their first term, and then the public
Supports the opposite party.
supports the opposite party, hoping for
I think
change.
I think there's some magic being worked behind the scenes that the public might not even know about, where somehow by some strange coincidence,
Well, you had very low voter turnout this year. A lot of people just didn't care.
I felt that way too.
Did you vote? Did you vote
I didn't
for
vote
anything
this year. No. This
Neither
year
did
I
I,
didn't.
but then I don't really. We didn't
And
have
when
anything.
I voted for Obama on his second term a couple of years ago, I didn't even want to do that. I did that at the accommodation of people begging me when they heard I didn't feel like voting then either. I did that for other people. I wasn't out there. The first time in 2008, I was out there for myself. 2012, I did that.
I really hope none of your
accommodating
friends are
other
going to
people.
listen to this because they're going to kick your ass. You admit that.
No, but at least I went to vote, though. It just wasn't for myself. I didn't really.
Well, the problem
I
is
could. They would be more upset if I didn't vote at
we
all.
live in New York State. New York State always goes Democrat. We reelected Andrew Cuomo, the Democratic governor of the state.
You got Republicans over here,
There
but
were
yeah, it's a
just
Democratic,
couple.
yeah,
Just a
Democratic
couple.
state.
But it's
I'll
mostly,
give you
it's
that.
mostly a blue state.
Oh, okay.
So
the Republicans.
and we only had a couple of referendums, and a lot of them were for district gerrymandering, which means you rezone the districts that you live in to give yourself more votes as a politician. So they were essentially voting to keep themselves in pay. You know, basically, the job of a politician is to be reelected. That's about it. They don't really have to do anything else. They just have to figure out ways to get elected, get campaign money, and all that stuff. But hey,
Well, that sounds like lame duck from day one, if you ask me.
that just sounds like
First or
somebody who
second
really
term,
doesn't
then.
want to work. If you don't want to work, and you don't want to work in a job where people expect results, go into politics. Look at Al Sharpton. Al Sharpton owes
if you're campaigning to
$4.5
make
million
false
in back
promises,
taxes.
even that's work. It may not be working the right way, but even that takes work.
Do you know the story of Al
Just
Sharpton?
campaigning, right or wrong. What about Al Sharpton?
He owes $4.5 million in back taxes that he refused to pay.
I had
And then
never
he was
heard
on
this
an
before.
installment plan to pay to the IRS. He makes an enormous amount of money from contributions because
And his show on what you call that? I never
was
forgot
that
the name.
CNBC or MSNBC? I forgot.
MSNBC, I believe. Yeah.
He makes
I know
an
he's making a
enormous
good
amount
salary
of money,
from
and
that.
he's trying to hide it like he isn't. So,
What do they call it? What do they call that? Politically? I forgot the name of the damn show now. I
no,
forgot
it's
the
not
name of it.
politically correct. It's some blah blah something with Al Sharpton.
Political Nation. That's the name of it.
Yeah.
I remember now. Political Nation. I knew it had something to do with politics, something in there. That's the name. Politic Nation, I think, is the name of the show. I think it's called Politic Nation. That goes perfect with who he is as a person, too. That creep. I don't care if that's out in public.
Actually-
his headquarters is directly across the street in my neighborhood from where I live, by the way.
Yeah,
the
that's-
National
yeah.
Action Network. Do you know that that's in my neighborhood?
The National Action Network
It's
is right
in
across from where you
my
live?
neighborhood. Oh, I'm glad this came up. I wanted to tell you. I meant to, now that it came up.
And
I wasn't thinking about that, but now
I
that
don't
we're
know
talking
how-
about, this is across
You
the street from where I
talk to
live.
people up there. How do they feel
little
about
bit.
Al Sharpton? Is he considered a local hero? Because do you
Some
owe
people
$4.5
some
million
people
in
think he's
taxes?
garbage. No, I don't owe $4.5 million. I've never even made that. How the hell would I've never even earned that in my life. So I know I don't owe that. I've never even. I might have earned maybe $1 million, if that much, in my whole life. And I don't. I'm lucky if I got a half that.
Yeah. So, isn't it
that way.
disturbing though that he owes this enormous sum? If you
It's
owe,
disturbing now that you told me. I didn't know about it. Thank you.
considering that taxes are usually between 35 and 45% of a person's income, that means that he has made way more than $4.5 million in his lifetime.
course
if
he has.
owes that much. Consider that.
Exactly.
We're talking how much could he have possibly? Geez, I wish I was good at math and I could give you a percentage. If he owed 4.5, he didn't pay, then at least he's got to owe. Then he's had to have made. I don't know. I wanna say maybe 20 million.
Over how long
20,
a period
25.
of time are we talking, though?
This is probably over the.
You'd have to know.
He would probably have to have owed 25. We're talking about maybe about 15 years, I think.
Yeah, I can see 4.5 million. 15 years, yeah, if he's making that kind of money, I could see that.
That's serious.
And why did they allow him
serious
to
stretch.
go on that long like that? If you're hounding people
Well,
who
no,
owe
he
like
had-
$100,000
okay, no.
or $50,000, you hound them.
The IRS was already aware of how much he owed and had set up payment options with him. The New York Times got wind of this story and published it. Now, Al is out there saying everybody's racist. Because anybody who attacks anything he does is a racist.
Of course.
He said this is just
His
a racist
usual
attack on the National Action Network.
What does he call it? Modus operandi?
Modus operandi.
Thank you.
But the thing is, I mean, like, I have to bring up Tawana Brawley. You know, I mean, I'm like, excuse me, Mr. Sharpton, I've got 2 words for you. Tawana Brawley? And he'll be like, nope, don't know who that is. Sorry.
I got 2 words for him, too. Ice pick. How about that? You remember that? A few years later?
Wait, refresh my memory. What was that?
He was on I think he was doing some march demonstration. I don't know if it was 120th Street in Harlem, somewhere out there in New York. Somebody tried to ice pick him out. I don't know, he was in motorcade or something around. I don't know if he had much protection. He was supposed to have bodyguards.
Somebody
around
tried
him.
to stab him to death with an ice pick?
Bingo!
Oh, okay. Well,
You are reaching toward the first prize, young man.
so
Keep up the good guesswork.
so what happened? I mean, did he get injured? Did he have to go to the hospital? Did
He
he,
had to go
did
and
he run?
he had to go and get himself plugged up with some stitches.
Was
and
this
eventually,
back when he was heavy? Because
Yeah.
now he's like on some kind of ultra slim fast, and now he looks like he's just, you know.
He's no longer a fat cat.
Actually, no, he had
Weight-wise,
gastric.
he's
No,
a
you know
fat
what
cat.
happened?
His pockets are fatter than he is now. Put it that
He
way.
got gastric bypass surgery. They stapled his stomach, and he started imploding, and now he looks like Al Roker looks. I mean, look at Al Roker nowadays. Jeez.
He looks like an improved version of Al.
They look
Al Roker
deflated.
with more
They look
hair
like
without his
deflated-
glasses. That's what he looks like.
Deflated tires, and I bet you that's where the $4.5 million went. Just kidding. I think gastric bypass surgery is probably a little cheaper than that. Anyway, we're going to wrap it up now because I'm getting a little chilly. I like this. This was a great idea. So, Colin, I want to thank you for joining me. And
It's been good.
I want to have you back real soon, and we're going to talk next time, I guess, when we talk, we'll talk about action figures. And you're going to bring your action figures this time, right?
Try to bring a couple out.
Okay. All right, so I want to thank you for tuning in. When we get our RSS feed, please subscribe to this podcast. Thank you.